Bismillah, Assalamualaikum. This video will focus on the feedback given by the students up till week number 8. I haven't done this video at the end of week 7, so this video will combine the feedback from week number 7 as well as week number 8, inshallah. So we'll focus on the feedback and I'll give my comments and reflections. Bismillah. Okay, so in this feedback, the time for the quiz may be too short for me and make panic to answer the quiz every day. Maybe so can give us more time to answer the quiz. My initial comment is that if you tend to panic in answering the question, I'm not sure whether it's because you do not have enough experience of solving question before. If that is the case, please do have more experiences by practicing, or it's because generally when you face any type of test you tend to panic. The philosophy that I have for my quizzes is to prepare you for the exam, not to accommodate every single constraint. Unless it's valid constraint, like I give 5 minutes for submission because I think that is sufficient for you to take the picture, send the file, and etc. Right? But for this case, I do try to give enough time for calculation and a little bit of buffer, but I'm not sure if panic is included in the buffer time. Anyway, the topic is a bit confusing to differentiate between the arrow of the support. I assume this is about support reaction. Now, question like this, I hope you do not just give as a feedback for the end of the class, because you should actually ask this in the class session, because I open for you to ask any question for 2 hours, right, or 1.5 hours if you minus the quiz time. So please do not just say you are confused. If you are confused, make sure you ask to get the clarification until you're clear about it, because if you just say it like this, it may not solve the issue, because I'm not sure what type of confusion that you have. Do you not understand how we draw the arrow between forces and moment, or you do not understand why the arrow is there in the first place, meaning you cannot imagine the reaction of the each type of supports or what, right? So yeah, please do ask if you do not understand the fundamentals, especially, as well as how you draw things, because free body diagram is essential to get marks in the exam, as well as essential for you to know to do as an engineer, right? Okay, next class, the other class. Okay, I understand, so nothing to comment here. Your videos are funny, sir, apart from it being understandable. Love it. It keeps the momentum to focus in your lecture. Okay, I'm not sure whether this, I will have to check. This is 18th of November. I have to check which topic is this, whether this is consistent, meaning the student feel this is consistent, or only for that topic it is as such, right? Yeah, I think from many semesters that I have conducted these courses, some students have this kind of comments, I guess, but some students don't. I guess it depends on whether you have the same sense of humor as I have, I guess. Yeah. I suggest before the quiz, if there is no questions, you can test us with simple questions related to the topic to test our understanding on the concept. Okay, the tutorial is given for precisely for this, actually, because I have given all the questions that you can take a look before you look at the video where I go about how to solve each question. So if you see any question that you do not know how to solve, or you do not understand how to solve it, then you can watch the video, right? So if the purpose is to help student or to test the student relating to understanding, I think that is there, unless the one that comment this, meaning during the time they have already not only covered the lecture but as well as the tutorial. If that is the case and you want further, I'm not sure in terms of implementation though, because normally I open for question and student can come at any point. So if I turn that period to become, meaning I'm the one that is speaking, I'm not sure whether it will hinder opportunity for student to ask, even though I think most students do not ask question. So I think that's the essence for this one, because they feel it's better for me to teach something. You can come up with, because if this is verbalized, then I can understand more the suggestion and whether it is making any sense in terms of implementation. So I do hope you can, because in the if you're, of course you're this is from my student. If you suggested this, you can write in the Google, in the Telegram group, suggesting the actual implementation for this. Yep. Next, everything is going well. More time for quiz, please, sir. Why? That's my question. Why? If it is because you fail to solve within the time, my response is, I want to understand why. Why do you take so much time to solve the question? Because the time should be sufficient if you are well prepared before the quiz, or it's basically mainly because you do not have time to prepare, so yeah, the quiz tend to give. Yeah, I need more detail whether it is a valid thing for me to consider, but I always try to give like just enough time, not too much but enough for those who are well prepared. I know that seems not that fair to some, because they say, why is the time just enough for those who are well prepared when many students are not well prepared? But my philosophy is I want to push everyone to be well prepared. That's why I do not want to accommodate those who are not well prepared. That's my philosophy of the quiz being assessment for learning, not just assessment of learning. Right? That's of course you can always challenge this philosophy and you say that this is not beneficial for a student. You can always challenge it, and I'm very much open to suggestion, because throughout the semesters, many semesters, I have changed my approach depend on the comments, especially if they are valid. Everything is going well. So may you consider to extend the time quiz at the time given for quiz, because to understand the question already take up to 3 to 5 minutes. Really? Now that's too long. If you take up to 5 minutes to understand the question, especially in the quiz, because the quiz is specific for that topic, right? Today we cover 5.2. The quiz will be on 5.2. And you have covered the lecture before the class, and then you have 1 hour to prepare for the quiz. Because it's very specific, the quiz will only cover that 5.2, for example, right? I'm having trouble to understand why it takes up to 5 minutes to understand. In the final, perhaps some student, because the question comes from all the topics simultaneously, so you might have to, okay, which is this relating to, right? That is understandable. But when this quiz is known to come from one specific topics, it will only ask within that. Why does it take too much time to understand the question? So this is an honest question, and you can reply and you can give feedback, including in the Telegram, or you can PM me, no problem, because I want to understand why it is so, why it takes so much time to understand the question. Because normally I just give you, in terms of understanding the question, 1 to 2 minutes of the quiz time, and because I think it is sufficient. 3 to 5 minutes is too long, because the question is quite short. Okay. Next, this is the final one. Getting better from class to class, also can find new friends to discuss about the upcoming quiz and answer the quiz before. Okay, now yeah, I understand that the current circumstances where it is online, and because if we are already in the physical classroom, so it's easier. I think it doesn't take half a semester to find friend in the class to discuss with, but now, because if you do not know anyone before, getting to know in such environment is quite a challenge. I don't understand. So hopefully this will help for the remaining of the semester. We have half of the semester left, so hopefully this is helpful for the remaining of the semester. We will have a lot more quizzes up after the midterm, and hopefully that will help. I think the answering time for quizzes is quite short. Okay, I have mentioned about this. Plus, the mark reduction for late submission is also too much, in my opinion. I would get better marks if I submit the incomplete answer in time. Please reduce the mark reduction. Okay, this is quite interesting. I would get better marks if I submit the incomplete answer in time, because that is the purpose actually. Now, I make a statement in MVQs. Of course, if you are the student, you know this. I already declare from the beginning that every 1 minute late will result in deduction of 4 marks, meaning that after 5 minutes, deduction of 20 marks, which is deduction of the full mark, right? Even if you get the full mark. Now, the late mark, the mark deduction for the late is just to give the opportunity for those who, for whatever reason, have something happen that leads towards some 1 or 2 minutes late of submission. So meaning that I will not totally reject their quizzes. It will still be considered, but at the expense of the mark reduction, right? Because if we just want to do not discuss with this, because if the mark reduction is an issue, I'll just say anyone who submitted after the deadline, I'll just ignore. That's easy, I think. But some student, because something happened, etc., that may be genuine, so I'll just make it as such, so it will be included as such, so they can still get some marks and not totally zero. But if you consider, because if you say might as well, because this comment is like saying might as well I just when the time is up, I just submit and get whatever marks, because if I continue on, it will be less mark than if I submit straight away. That is actually the intention of that mark reduction, because the idea is if you because you have two options when the time is up. One is submit straight away. Second is you wish to continue to write something and then submit. The idea is the maximum that a student should get if they extend and submit late should be the same as the mark that they can get if they submit just straight away submit, even if the answer is incomplete when the time is up. That's the idea, to make sure that the maximum that they can get is that. Like, they cannot get more, meaning I cannot reward more marks because you submit late. That's against the philosophy of the whole quiz to begin with. So yeah, if you say might as well I submit straight away, yes, that is the point. The point of the quiz is that please submit straight away when the time is up. But if you wish to continue and hope for the best that you can still make it on time, you are the one that take that risk, right? I hope that clarify the issue with this mark reduction, because at the beginning of the semester I do ask, which one do you prefer? I just simply ignore and just do not consider any late submission, or I still accept but with significant mark reduction, and you opt for that, hence I apply it as such. It can be, meaning this kind of issue can be resolved if we change after this, okay, you can just ignore anything submitted late. That is also possible. Alright, so that's the end of the comments and feedback. Thank you for all of your feedback. Yes, for some of the earlier comments, I think please do raise it in the group so that it can be follow up, meaning I can follow up to understand more, or within the class so that we can discuss about possible ways to make it better, right? So that's number one. Number two, now about the time, I have given all the answer scheme for all the quizzes before, right? Now try to go about it and understand where you get it wrong, or why you use so much time to answer those. And just after you understand, meaning that now you are well prepared in terms of that kind of question, please do try again. You know, just look at the quiz, meaning well prepared, you understand already. Go see the question and try to answer and see how long it takes. If you still see that even if you understand already, you see the solution, etc., you already understand how to solve it, and then when you try, it still takes longer than the original time given, then you might have a case of meaning we can discuss. But I can bet that if you already know the answer, you already understood, etc., you try, it takes much less time than what is given, than the time that is given, right? You can try, and yeah, so that's where I think the time needed, if you really understand and know how to solve it, is actually significantly less than what is given. And I think it is also proven by some of the students actually managed to do that. They submit quite early. You have a buffer of 3, 4, 5 minutes before the deadline, and they already submitted, and some of them actually get almost full mark or full mark. So it means that it is possible, but of course I understand that is the top spectrum of the student. Yeah, wallahu alam. So hopefully we can improve together, and I'm trying to do my part to help in building your capacity to learn, basically, right? I think for half of this semester, if this is the first course that you take with me, you know that I am those kind of lecturer that do not really give any free marks, any easy marks, because I think, especially in the quiz, because I think that defeat the purpose. Because if you become accustomed to that, that is not good to prepare you for the midterm as well as the final. Okay, one note, in the midterm as well as in the final, you will not have the opportunity for any late submission. Anyone who submitted before after the deadline, gone, you're considered not submitting, right? So I hope none of you will, because I hope my approach of applying the mark reduction for late submission, even though I put a very significant mark reduction so that it will deter you from submitting late. That's the idea. But hopefully it doesn't backfire in the sense that you think you can still submit late and just have some mark reduction in the final or in the midterm, because no, it's just that, sorry, you submitted late after the deadline, right? So please, of course, in the midterm, normally the buffer time for submission is for the final exam, especially in the midterm, I think it's roughly half an hour, because you have a longer exam and you much more pages to take the picture, process, etc. But I think the problem with giving that buffer is some student will continue on writing until the final 5 minutes and try to submit, and then they say they have problem to submit because you are the one who choose to use the submission time to still answering. So if you take the risk and then it's not paying off, because when you finally the file reach the lecturer, it's already past the deadline. Unfortunately, you get 0. Right? Hopefully you understand that. Thank you for watching. Hope you benefit from it. Wallahu alam, wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.